Hello everyone! In this video, I will teach you on how to answer your performance task number 4. Good luck! Number 1. Multiply 2.0 times 10 to the power of 6 and 3.1 times 10 to the power of 6. If we're going to rewrite this one, that is equal to 2.0 times 10 to the power of 6 multiplied by 3.1 times 10 to the power of 6. So this parenthesis here means multiplication. So we're going to multiply two scientific notations. So we have this is the first scientific notation and we have the second scientific notation. Remember when we multiply two scientific notation, we can apply the law of exponent, which is the product of a power. So it is in this pattern, a to the power of n multiplied by a to the power of m is just equal to a to the power of n plus m. So in this example here, we have 2.0 as the first factor, and the second factor is 10 to the power of 6. For the second scientific notation, 3.1 times 10 to the power of 6. So we will multiply the first factors first, so that will become 2.0 times 3.1 multiplied by 10 to the power of 6 times 10 to the power of 6. So multiplying 2.0 times 3.1, that's 2.0 times 3.1, just equal to 1 times 0 is 0, 1 times 2 is equal to 2, 3 times 0 is equal to 0, 3 times 2 is equal to 6. So that's 0, 2, 6, 1, 2. So that's 6.20. So we have here 6.20 as our first factor times, we will apply the law of exponent, which is the product of a power. So we will just copy 10 and add the exponents. So that is 6.2 times 10. 6 plus 6 is equal to 12. So the correct answer is, or the final answer is this one. 6.2 times 10 to the power of 12. And then if we're going to choose it here, it's yellow. So 6.2 times 10 to the power of 12. So we'll have color yellow here. Number 2. 1.1 times 10 to the power of 4 plus 5.0 times 10 to the power of 4. Observe that the operation here is plus. So when adding numbers in scientific notation, we must take into consideration that the second factors must have the same exponents. So for this case, our second factor for this first scientific notation is 10 to the power of 4. So its exponent is 4. And for the second scientific notation, that is 10 to the power of 4. So the same, so we have the same exponents, 4. So if we'll write it vertically, so that is 1.1 times 10 to the power of 4 plus 5.0 times 10 to the power of 4. Since the two scientific notation have the same powers and the same bases, we'll just copy. So that is 10 to the power of 4. And we'll add the first factors. So that's 1 plus 0 is equal to 1. And 1 plus 5 is equal to 6. So we have now our answer, which is 6.1 times 10 to the power of 4. So this is now our answer. For our example number 3, 2.0 times 10 to the power of negative 4 plus 1.6 times 10 to the power of negative 4. So our operation here is addition. And take note that our second factors, we have here 10 to the power of negative 4, and the second factor here is 10 to the power of negative 4. So they have the same exponents and bases. So we can proceed to the process. So we have to write it vertically. So 2.0 times 10 to the power of negative 4 added by 1.6 times 10 to the power of negative 4. Since we have the same bases and the same exponents, so we just copy 10 to the power of negative 4. Then we'll add the first factors. So 0 plus 6 is equal to 6. Then 2 plus 1 is equal to 3. So the answer now is 3.6 times 10 to the power of negative 4. Example number 4. 1.2 times 10 to the power of 4 times 5.0 times 10 to the power of 2. So the parenthesis here means the operation is multiplication. So for multiplication of numbers with scientific notation, we can apply the product of a power. For the product of a power, it states that if a raised to the power of n multiplied by a raised to the power of m, then it's just equal to a to the power of n plus m. So applying this law of exponent, we can solve this, or we can simplify this given 1.2 times 10 to the power of 4 times 5.0 times 10 to the power of 2. So the first factor for the first scientific notation is 1.2. And for the second scientific notation, it's 5.0. So we will multiply 1.2 times 5.0, and then we will also multiply the second factors, 10 to the power of 4 times 10 to the power of 2. Simplifying, 1.2 times 5.0, that is 1.2 times 5.0. So we will multiply 2 times 0 is equal to 0. 0 times 1 is equal to 0. 5 times 2 is equal to 10, so bring down 0, carry 1. 5 times 1 equals 5, plus 1 equals 6. Simplifying, that is, we will add, so 0, 0, then 6. 1 and 2, so 1, 2. So our answer here is 6.00, or you can write it as 6.0 times. For this one, we will apply the product of a power. So we will copy the base and then add the exponents, 4 plus 2. So the operation between the two is multiplication. So that's 6.0 times 10 to the power of 4 plus 2 is equal to 6. So the answer now, we have here 6.0 times 10 to the power of 6. Example number 5. 8.8 times 10 to the power of 4 divided by 2.2 times 10 to the power of 2. Take note that the operation here is division. And remember that when we divide numbers with scientific notation, we can apply the quotient of a power. Can you still recall the pattern for this? For the quotient of a pattern, if we have a to the power of n divided by a to the power of m, then we have a to the power of n minus m. So we will just subtract its exponents. Let's now apply this in solving this problem. So we have here our first scientific notation is 8.8 times 10 to the power of 4. And our second scientific notation is 2.2 times 10 to the power of 2. So what are you going to do is you need to divide the first factors, so that will be 8.8 divided by 2.2, and then multiplied by 10 to the power of 4 divided by 10 to the power of 2. So we will first simplify 8.8 divided by 2.2. So we will divide it 8.8 divided by 2.2. Since there is a decimal number in your divisor, so we will move here 1. So also in the dividend, we will move also 1. So 1. So that will become 88 divided by 22. So that what will be the answer for that? It's equal to 4. So 4 times 2, it's 8. 4 times 2 equals 8. So that will give us 0. So the answer for this is equal to 4. Then this is multiplication, so times. We will now apply the quotient of a power. So that will be 10 to the power of 4 divided by 10 to the power of 2. So we will just subtract 4 and 2. So that will give us 10 to the power of 4 minus 2. Then simplifying further, so we have 4 times 10 to the power of 4 minus 2 is equal to 2. So we have now the answer, 4 times 10 to the power of 2. Number 6. 9.6 times 10 to the power of 8 minus 4.5 times 10 to the power of 8. So the operation here is subtraction. Remember that in subtracting numbers with scientific notation, the first thing that we must consider is the second factor. So we have to look at the second factors. So we have 10 to the power of 8. And here, for the second scientific notation, we have 10 to the power of 8. So observe that our exponent for 10 to the power of 8 is 8. And for here, so we have 10 to the power of 8. So the exponent is still 8. So we have the same second factors. So we can right away write times 10 to the power of 8. And for the first factors, 9.6 and 4.5, we're going to subtract it. So that's 9.6 minus 4.5 quantity times 10 to the power of 8. So if we're going to subtract 9.6 and 4.5, that is 9.6 minus 4.5. So that's 6 minus 5 is 1. 9 minus 4 is 5. So the answer here is 5.1 times 10 to the power of 8. So this is now the answer.